Well, this is totally not Danzig, and you're listening to the Shred Shack.
That never gets old, although we will be changing it once the new year starts.
Yeah.
Greetings, folks. I'm Dan Mack.
And this is Chris Mack.
Welcoming you to episode 86 of the Shred Shack podcast, your premier source of news and uninformed yet heavily biased opinions pertaining to all things heavy metal, airing whenever the fuck we feel like on iTunes, Mixcloud, and Google Play, as well as on YouTube at youtube.com/The Shred Shack and youtube.com/AdamantStemplum. Let's get started with some old business. I don't have a button for this. There we go.
Old business is old business, and new business is new business.
Technically, everything we're doing is kind of old business because we've been away for 3 weeks.
Yes.
So, yes. New business?
And this is new business, and we do not discuss new business until next quarter.
And with new business, we start off by talking about new album releases. Chris, it's been 3 weeks. Have you listened to anything?
No. I have things queued up, though. I got the new things that are streaming right now is the new De Oblivia Scaris. Ugh. I say it right in my head, but I can never say it right in my mouth.
If it's too difficult to say, you're not worth listening to.
Yeah.
No, that's not true
No,
at
that's
all.
not true at all. 'Cause I remember a couple years ago when this band released a new album. It was amazing. So that's why I'm excited to kind of finally try and catch up on some things.
Okay.
Because I also got Acid Witch has a new album out.
Mm-hmm.
Phil Anselmo has the Scour Project has a new EP out.
Yes.
And also the new Cannibal Corpse came out.
Yes.
So that's all streaming online right now. So I'm going to try and catch up eventually.
Mm-hmm.
This has not been a very good year for me keeping up with music, though. So
Yeah.
I'm going to try.
Yeah, I realized recently when I went back to look at our skateboard marketing stuff that there is so much on there that I didn't know we had. So I was like, oh, shit.
Dude, I totally even forgot like the name of the website. I don't know what the password is. Like,
Yeah.
I'm all sorts of muffed.
Well, I got a gift card for my birthday, and I picked up a copy of the new Power Man 5000 album. That loud sound in the background is the washing machine. Deal with it.
It's laundry day.
Deal with it. Adulting. Hashtag adulting. But I picked up the new Power Man 5000 album, which, like, I had seen so many things about it coming out soon, and then suddenly there it was. It was released.
Yeah.
I'm just, I guess I'm oblivious to things like
That's
that.
kind of how this year has been going for me. It's like we
Yeah.
talk about a new album coming out like months ago, and then, oh my god, here it is.
Well, I saw all these promotions for it on Facebook, and I thought it was out by that time, but no, it came out about 2 weeks ago now, or a week ago. And I've talked many times about how much I love Power Man 5000, how they're one of the those bands that got lumped into the new metal sound that have endured through a little bit of change in their music, but still being pretty straightforward, heavy, and rocking. Over the course of their career, their sound has kind of evolved a little bit from that heavier sound from Tonight the Stars Revolt into just a little bit more straight up anthemic, kind of the same way Rob Zombie has evolved.
Yeah.
Which I don't want to sit here and say specifically him, but they are very similar sounding. I have never disliked any Power Man 5000 album, and this one is pretty damn solid. It's better than the previous one. I wasn't as big a fan of Builders of the Future as I was anything previous, but it is a good, solid album. Shows a little bit. It's a bit of a cross section of everything that they've done because it starts off with a little bit more of the rap side of things, but then they kind of go into the more fist pumping anthemic stuff. There's even a ballad type song on there.
What?
Yeah, it's a good solid album. If you like Power Man 5000, you're gonna like the album. It's not gonna be it's not a game changer for them. It's just they are a consistently good band, and this album is pretty good. So what else have we been listening to?
The iPod on shuffle, always a good thing. Always a good thing. The thing is, I find that my iPod is just as like stuck in the moment as I get sometimes. Like where I find like 1 or 2 or 3 albums I just kind of circulate through. It feels like my iPod has the same kind of tendency to do that for certain artists, where all of a sudden, like for a day, I'll get a lot of Max Cavalera stuff for whatever reason. It'll be Soulfly, it'll be Sepultura, whatever, and then the next day I'll get a shit ton of Bob Dylan out of nowhere. So it's temperamental, to say the least. But it's always interesting to see where things go.
Gotcha. It's funny because whenever I do my my shuffle, the artist that I have the most albums and songs from is Johnny Cash, because I have like that Columbia Years box set, which
Yep.
is like 60 some odd discs.
Yep.
So there's like 2-3 songs Johnny Cash, 2-3 songs Johnny Cash, 2-3
Well,
songs
that also
Johnny
happens.
Cash.
The same thing happens to me with the Prog Sphere stuff that I got from Bandcamp, because that was like 20 albums.
Yeah.
So it'd be like you said, 2 or 3 songs and then Prog Sphere, 2 or 3 songs, Prog Sphere.
Yeah.
So that's always good. Always good.
Always A-OK because Prague.
It mixes things up a lot.
Yeah. I kind of listen to a random shuffle of things. I've been trying to put a little bit more focus into listening to the stuff that we get for the S5. But aside from the Power Man 5000 album, it's just been kind of sporadic, whatever the fuck I feel like.
Yep.
So, let's go on to news. And it looks like we started splitting things up a little bit. It makes me sad that we actually have to have a section just called obituaries.
Well, it's just because like we've been gone for 3 weeks, and unfortunately, a lot of people have passed away in the last 3 weeks. So we'll start off first off with former Celtic Frost bassist Martin Eric Ain died Saturday, October 21st, after suffering a heart attack at the age of 50.
Yeah, that was a real surprising one.
Yeah.
Because I remember I had seen it and I was like, no, that couldn't be the same guy. And I was like, no, shit, it is the damn. That was a rough one.
I think there might be one that I'm missing here that might be just lumped in general news, but we'll find it. Anyway, next one up is George Young, who is the eldest brother of AC/DC co-founders Malcolm and Angus Young. He passed away at the age of 70. He was a former member of the Easy Beats. He co-produced AC/DC's early albums, including TNT, Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap, and Let There Be Rock. He started his own production company when the Easy Beats split in 1970 and was inducted into the ARIA Hall of Fame in 1988, and again as a member of the Easy Beats in 2005. He returned to co-produce AC/DC's 1988 album Blow Up Your Video and 2000's Stiff Upper Lip.
I'm assuming that the ARIA is the Australian recording something.
Something, yeah.
They are Australian, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
They are from the Down Under.
Except for
I think Bon Scott,
no,
both Bon Scott and Brian Johnson.
yeah.
They're Scottish.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I'm pretty sure.
Well, that's definitely a bummer.
All right, last bit here for the obituaries, which is awful. Marilyn Manson co-founder and original guitarist Scott Putetsky, a.k.a. Daisy Berkowitz, has passed away after a long battle with stage 4 colon cancer. The 49-year-old musician found out he had cancer when he underwent a colonoscopy in August 2013 after nearly 6 years of mysterious abdomen pains, some of which were severe enough to land him in the emergency room. He performed on Marilyn Manson's Portrait of American Family and Smells Like Children albums before leaving the group in 1996 over creative differences during the writing sessions for what became the Antichrist Superstar LP. He went on to join Jack Off Jill, Godhead, and later launched his own band called 3 Ton Gate.
I haven't had to break out this one in a while.
Run! Where is that pussy cancer anyway?
But that's, again...
That's a damn dirty shame, because the fact of the matter is that to this day, Portrait of American Family is my favorite Marilyn Manson record, only because it was so much more guitar-driven than all the rest of the records. Mm-hmm. And it has a lot to do with Daisy Berkowitz playing. So I love that fucking record. So it's a damn dirty shame.
Yep. All right, so let's move on to some general news.
All right. Former Slaughter and current Blue Man Group drummer Blas Elias will join the West Coast touring lineup of the Trans-Siberian Orchestra this winter. He'll perform alongside TSO staples Johnny Lee Middleton from Sabotage, Jeff Scott Soto, and Al Petrelli. His first performance with TSO will take place on November 16th at the Mid-America Center in Council Bluffs, Iowa.
For anybody who hasn't seen a TSO show, it's definitely worth seeing at least once. I can't remember if it was last year or the year before that Lindsay and I went.
2 years ago.
2 years ago, and it was fantastic. Like it's a good spectacle. So just see it once. So
All right. Mike Patton has scored the Stephen King sourced thriller 1922, which is available now via Netflix.
I'm interested. You have my attention. I'm just wondering if it's going to be like a whole bunch of like random noises and yelling and stuff.
Well, apparently this is not his first film that he scored. He scored something else. I forget what it was that was written in the article, but this is not his first go around. This is the big of the day here. Hoobastank has inked a deal with Napalm Records. The band's new album is scheduled for release in the first half of 2018.
I remember I sent the link to you guys when that was announced. And I was like, of all the bands, like this is as weird well, not now, but it's weird at the time of a band like Nickelback being on Roadrunner Records. I mean, since then, Roadrunner's become its own little, all-encompassing thing. But like a band like Hoobastank, which they haven't really. I hate using the word relevant when it comes to music, but they haven't been in any sort of limelight in decade and a half at least. And to be signed to a label that I consider to be one of the towards the top tier of metal labels, that's just strange.
Not just metal labels, but like indie metal labels.
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there's a reasoning behind it. Maybe their sound has gotten heavier, and we just don't know.
I was gonna say, you didn't hear that Hoobastank's going deathcore now?
Oh, that's. I mean, and also, I can also say that a lot of stuff on Napalm Records probably is maybe among the poppier side of metal, because there is that fine line that's being crossed nowadays with a lot of bands. The more anthemic sounding bands that do sound more radio friendly. So, I mean, you can argue that bands like Nightwish can be more radio friendly than others, and the bands like that are being signed to Napalm Records. But I mean, cool, good on them. Hope good material comes out of it. If not, your ass gets dropped.
Only time will tell.
Yep.
All right, Rovio Entertainment, the creators of Angry Birds, pays tribute to Iron Maiden with a Halloween collaboration in Angry Birds Evolution. Eddie, who of course is the mascot of Iron Maiden, will be a special playable character as Eddie the Bird in Angry Birds Evolution this Halloween season.
That's just kind of cool,
right?
I don't really care about the Angry Birds game, just because it doesn't interest me. But that's still cool.
I wish they did that before the Angry Birds movie came out, so they could have incorporated that into the movie, which would have been hilarious.
That would have been great, yeah.
Because that movie's hilarious as it is.
Yeah, that was a surprisingly good movie. That was a deceptively good movie. It's like Sister Act, deceptively good movie.
Yeah, the kids love that one. I actually found myself really enjoying that one as well.
Yeah, we since we have Netflix at work, I put it on there one time and left the window open so I could watch it.
All right. Pete's favorite band, Five Finger Death Punch,
Gotcha 6.
has resolved its dispute with its longtime record company, Prospect Park. The band and label have announced the release of a greatest hits album with 2 new songs in December, with a brand new full-length album to follow next year. Five Finger Death Punch's follow-up to 2015's Gotcha 6 was delivered to Prospect Park last December, but a legal battle with the company delayed the LP's arrival.
Wow. So we've been waiting for a new album for a year?
Yep.
I mean, by we, I don't mean me, because I don't know their stuff, really.
Well, I kind of stopped listening to them. I didn't hear anything from Gotcha 6.
I did when I
When you were doing the review, and you jokingly put them as your number one.
Yeah, I did that, didn't I? I'm funny.
All right, Megadeth vocalist guitarist Dave Mustaine has revealed that he has been suffering from Lyme disease in recent months after having contracted it from a tick bite.
I was on Twitter recently. I haven't used it as much as I would like to, but it's one of those things where like how you use Facebook, you only know what's there in front of your face. Mm-hmm. And I was just kind of scrolling through Twitter, and I saw that there was apparently a war of words between Dave Mustaine and Chris Barnes.
Yes. I didn't read anything about it though.
Well, it's basically I think it was Dave Mustaine bashing Metal Blade, and Chris Barnes basically saying "fuck you." Metal Blade is the shit. So It just happened to be one of those times, where I just come across it. But I just found it interesting, and I think someone blocks someone else afterward.
Yeah.
So it goes.
Okay, here we go. Former Wasp and current Metal Church drummer Stet Howland underwent a spinal tap last week after he was recently diagnosed with diffuse large B-cell lymphoma, an aggressive type of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma that develops from the B cells in the lymphatic system.
It's rough when you have to say spinal tap and drummer in the same sentence.
I was trying not to make a spinal tap joke, and it's impossible.
It's impossible, especially
impossible.
especially considering that it's a
It's
drummer.
a drummer, yeah.
Yes.
It's just not right. It's not right.
But here's hoping that the prognosis hereafter is better, because diseases are just getting fucking scary.
Yeah. All right. Because we're not done with that yet either.
Yeah.
There's another one coming up soon too. Anyway, every time I die guitarist Jordan Buckley is currently facing a lawsuit for allegedly injuring an audience member. ABC affiliate WXYZ Detroit report that a woman identified as Tanya Ross suffered a concussion and neck fracture after Buckley allegedly jumped into the audience during a live performance and landed on her head. The show is said to have taken place at the Crowfoot Ballroom in Pontiac, Michigan, which would presumably be the band's August 13th, 2017 performance at the venue in which they opened for Taking Back Sunday. It is unclear what damages Ross is seeking, but the report does mention she continues to receive physical therapy and medical appointments due to the injury.
I mean, the injury sucks, but people jumping into the audience like that's not really new.
Well, I think I have a feeling that she probably will get a settlement out of this, only because most venues nowadays have no crowd surfing rules, and this is the performer jumping
yes.
from the stage
That makes a lot of
into
sense.
the crowd.
Yeah.
So if everything does come through, she will probably get a settlement.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense then.
As much as I hate to legitimize something like that, because it is a show and it is a physical thing, with all those rules in place and that kind of thing, she will get a settlement, and rightfully so, in my opinion.
I mean, it's not. I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad thing that she's suing them or anything like that. It's just that I just want to know how he jumped and landed, like how.
That's probably one of those things where he jumps into the crowd and expecting to get crowd surfed, and a bunch of people picked him up, but then she was in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Probably didn't put her hands up.
Yeah, probably-
But she doesn't want to be a part of that.
Yeah, probably caught the brunt
And
of
probably
it.
caught the brunt of him falling.
Yeah.
Even if he didn't land on her, just nudging her head or something like that could cause that kind of damage. So
Yeah, gotta be careful. Yeah. That's one of the many reasons why I don't go towards the front of shows.
me too. I also soundboards. We're supposed to sound the best.
Yeah, and you know what? Sometimes the band comes out to you, because when we saw Epica, the guitar player came off a stage and went all the way to the soundboard, just chilled out, and
Hey.
and pretty much
Thank everybody for coming.
and Lindsay being 3 feet away was like, and the guy made a face at her, like, ah. So it was fun times.
All right, we ready?
Yes.
All right, longtime Gwar guitarist Michael Dirks, who performs as Ballsack, the Jaws of Death, has been diagnosed with myelofibrosis,
What the fuck?
a serious bone marrow disorder that disrupts the body's normal production of blood cells.
You fucking serious, dude? Like
Told you we weren't done yet, man.
I don't have a clip for that. It's just, man,
Yeah, I know.
it's becoming very frightening.
Okay. According to IQ, Metallica played to 22,211 people at the O2 in London, England, Tuesday night, October 24th, breaking the previous record of 21,000 even set by Muse in 2016. The, quote, in the round staging of the World Wired tour with Metallica performing in the middle of the arena expanded the seating capacity at the venue, which allowed the band to set the new record.
Oh snap!
That reminds me of, I went back to St. Anthony's, where we went to high school, for the 10-year reunion, and Brother Gary took us on a tour of the new sporting facility that they installed there. And he brought us down to the wrestling room, and he was very proud to say that this is the largest wrestling room on the East Coast. You know how we know that? because we went to the second largest one and made ours bigger by 1 inch. That's what that sounds like.
Wow. Hashtag dick move.
That is exactly what that sounds like to me.
And then of course, the people who had the second largest one just kind of looked at them and went,
Now I have to kill all of you.
Yes, Bill Murray for the win.
"Oh my god." I mean, that's the kind of thing I can see someone like when people say like you can't write these things, like you can't make these things up. No, that sounds like something that somebody can make up because that just sounds so preposterous.
But yeah, that's the advantage of playing in the round is that you get to fit more people in there.
Yeah.
So
It's amazing because we talk a lot about bands who have this intense fan base and they fly under the radar. Muse is one of those.
oh, I know.
Yeah, like they have like a really big fan base.
The fact of the matter is like I only got into them when that record came out with the Resistance on it.
Yeah.
And I had no idea that they were absolutely enormous before that record.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like I had no clue. Like holy shit. And apparently their show is phenomenal. Like they put on like one like amazing show.
Yeah,
So,
they're one of the ones that like lower end of the bucket list because I know they'll be around for a while, but I still want to see them someday.
yeah. And they also they have really good music. So
Oh, yeah.
They're great. Yeah. All right, last bit of general news here. Behemoth frontman Adam Nergal-Darsky, our favorite guy, one of our favorite guys, has been brought in for questioning by Polish authorities for allegedly disrespecting one of the country's national symbols. According to the guitarist vocalist, the band's The Republic of the Unfaithful t-shirt design is said to be insulting to the national coat of arms of Poland, which is a stylized white eagle with a golden beak and talons and wearing a golden crown and a red shield. Polish symbols are protected against public profanation and insults. According to Lexology.com, any public use that could be damaging or insulting may be considered a criminal offense. Therefore, it is important not to use any national symbol, even if artistically processed, in a way that could be deemed as disrespectful or offensive.
I feel like that's the same. That's the same kind of description for like our flag code, like all the things that have the U.S. flag on it. Like,
Yeah.
there's a specific thing that says like, don't do that. Don't do
Yeah,
that.
I think my favorite thing is like it can't be put on like paperware or napkins.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's like 4th of July. Everyone's
Oh,
taking
yeah.
off an American flag.
I'm just.
Can't be used in clothing. I rock some American flag shorts all the time. No.
I'm just thinking of Dietrich Bader and Napoleon
Oh,
Dynamite.
yes.
You want to get a roundhouse kick when I'm wearing these babies?
I don't think so. Forget about it. Yes. The best.
Okay, so that's it for general news, and now we're going to go on to a new segment that you put in called the Unfortunate Crime Blotter. I am going to get a legitimate shortened clip of this, but this is going to start off the section from now on.
If we,
Just let it play. Shut the fuck up and let it play.
Well, she sneaks around the world from India to Carolina. She's a sticky finger culture from Berlin down to Belize. Take you for a ride
Let
on
it
a
play.
sailboat to China. Tell me where in the world is
Carmen San Diego.
still their soul in South Korea?
It's the best fucking day ever.
fucking hell.
Oh, that's going to be shortened eventually, and we're going to make that into our.
The
into our-
ironic thing is that I think it was just like this past week. I was talking with my boot camp people about old,
game shows.
no, just old computer games.
Oh, the ones from the library.
Yeah, we talked about, of course, the Oregon Trail, and then Carmen San Diego, and then of course everyone started singing that song from the show.
Well, guess what? It is not going anywhere.
Oh my gosh! Well, hopefully we don't have to use it that often. I think the only reason I put this in here is because there were actually like 3 big things that happened that had to be brought up. So we had to do the unfortunate crime blotter. Anyway, first up here is Pentagram vocalist Bobby Liebling is currently serving an 18-month sentence at the Montgomery County Detention Center in Rockville, Maryland. It appears that Liebling managed to strike a plea bargain in which he pleaded guilty. Is it pleaded or pled? Whatever. To physical abuse and neglect of a vulnerable adult custodian, and thus escaped facing a first-degree assault charge. The incident took place this past May, with Liebling thought to have assaulted one of his elderly parents. Upon his release, he will face 3 years probation.
Wow, that guy's a douche.
Oh, we're not done yet. All right, so moving on to a whole band of douches, apparently. According to the Associated Press, the 4 members of Decapitated pled not guilty Tuesday, October 24th, to charges of kidnapping and raping a woman on their tour bus nearly 2 months ago. 31-year-old singer Raphael, we're going to keep with that, was charged with first-degree kidnapping and second-degree rape. 30-year-old bassist Hubert was charged with first-degree kidnapping and third-degree rape. 35-year-old guitarist Wakla, whatever, was charged with first-degree kidnapping and second-degree rape. And 27-year-old drummer Michael, the only one with an easily pronounceable name, was charged with first-degree kidnapping and third-degree rape. A Polish interpreter explained the court proceedings to the musicians over a speakerphone, after which they entered their pleas in English. The Spokane County Superior Court Judge Annette Pleas set trial for December 18th, though she said that date is very likely to be postponed. The Decapitated members had their bond set at $100,000 and were forced to surrender their passports to their attorneys. They also aren't allowed to talk to each other while incarcerated.
A proper dickhead.
Yep.
That's what you get, motherfucker. I just like the additional stipulation that they can't talk to each other. Like, I don't really know necessarily what that purpose that would serve, but
So that way they probably can't have like one concrete story to defend themselves. So now it's 4 guys trying to like, was it me?
now apparently they don't have backup as far as someone in jail gunning for their beehole.
All right. Last but not least here, Marilyn Manson has fired his longtime bassist Jordy White, who performed as Twiggy Ramirez. The news comes less than a week after White was publicly accused of rape by his former girlfriend Jessica Adams of the Riot Girl band Jack Off Jill. Jordy has yet to respond to Adams' October 20th Facebook post, in which she detailed the physical and psychological abuse in addition to rape while they were in a relationship in the 1990s, a relationship that Adams described as being exceptionally turbulent.
Fuck you, Twiggy. If this is true, fuck you.
Yeah. Pretty much.
No, none of that bullshit. It just sucks that two of the 3 of these stories involve rape.
Yeah, right.
It's like, what do we need to sit down and have a lesson here, folks? All right, so next we go on to some recording news.
Yep. So first up here, Judas Priest will release their new studio album Firepower in 2018.
Firepower. So the night at the museum, I think it was. Yeah.
Yep.
That is kind of a silly title, I'll say. After Nostradamus and
Redeemer of
Redeemer of
Souls.
Souls, Angel of Retribution, Firepower. It's like Turbo. That's basically what it is.
Nobody liked Turbo.
Well, they liked it enough to do like a nice 30th anniversary version of it, or whatever. But Firepower. I'm gonna get that clip now.
Yeah, we kind of need that.
We're gonna need that going forward because we're gonna hear more about this.
Oh yeah.
So.
All right, on December 1st, Rush will release a new and expanded edition of the album A Farewell to Kings. The 5th studio album originally released in 1977, which introduced the radio hit Closer to the Heart, album tracks A Farewell to Kings, Madrigal, Cinderella Man, as well as enduring fan favorites with Xanadu and Cygnus?
I think Cygnus.
X1. A Farewell to King's 40th anniversary will be available to fans in 4 distinct configurations, including 1 Super Deluxe Edition, 3 CD Deluxe Edition, 4 LP Deluxe Edition, and the Deluxe Digital Edition.
The double.
Double secret probation.
I ordered the double double, but they gave me a double 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 double.
We need some more Animal House clips on this podcast. All right, moving on. Elvedi released a brand new single, Rebirth, on October 27th. The song will be the first taste of the band's upcoming album, which is due next year.
Woot.
Pig Destroyer has entered the studio to begin recording its sixth album for a tentative summer of 2018 release via Relapse. The as-yet untitled follow-up to 2012's Book Burner is being tracked at the band's own Visceral Sound Studios in Bethesda, Maryland, with guitarist Scott Hull at the production helm.
The only reason I know how to pronounce the town name is because it's the name of one of the bigger video game companies right now. Bethesda.
All right. Snot's 1997 debut album Get Some will be released on 180-gram vinyl on December 1st via Music on Vinyl? Oh, yeah, okay. Music on Vinyl to celebrate its 20th anniversary. The album was the band's only effort with frontman Lynn Straight, who died in a car accident back in December of 1998.
I still need a copy of that album.
It's good.
Yeah, I never actually picked it up. I don't often see it used. So there's only a couple of tracks I know. So
It's quality stuff. It'd be it's one of those albums where you listen to it, it's like, man, I wonder what they would have done. You know?
yeah,
Like, I think they probably would have lasted the test of time beyond, like, right up there with like Seven Dust, like, because I think they were in like the same realm as far as sound goes.
gotcha.
You know. All right, Avatar released their seventh full-length album, Avatar Country, on January 12th via Entertainment One in North America and Century Media Ltd. In the rest of the world.
You know, this is kind of a shock to me because I've only started really hearing the name Avatar in the last year or so. They have 7 fucking albums.
Well, they just released one last year.
Yeah, I know. I had no idea that they even existed.
Oh, I knew of them. I just never heard, listened to their stuff.
Like, it was one of those things where once you initially know of them, they're everywhere.
Right.
So, like them, the band King, KYNG, like they've started appearing everywhere too. I'm like, what?
Oh, excuse me. Okay, next up, Five Finger Death Punch will release a greatest hits album, A Decade of Destruction.
6.
On December 1st, the compilation will include 2 new tracks, the first new music the band has released in over 2 years.
Oh, they probably just scrap it from the album they gave already.
Yeah. Entombed AD will spend the next few months writing and recording their third album for a tentative early 2018 release.
That is cool.
Last but not least, here for recording new Skeleton, which will release their first full-length album in over 4 years in the spring of 2018 via Prosthetic Records. The disc is being recorded with producer Kurt Ballo, who's worked with Chelsea Wolfe, Higher and Fire, and Kurbellertalk, at his God City studio. The effort will be mixed by Frederick Nordstrom, who's done Opeth Blackwater Park and At the Gates Slaughter of the Soul in Gothenburg, Sweden.
Frederick Nordstrom. Trying to think if he's the one that's in Dream Evil or not.
He might be.
Might be. I can't recall. It's been a while since I've paid attention to the name.
I think we've mentioned that before a while back.
Yeah.
But that is it for recording news today.
Okay. We didn't write anything down for crowdfunding tracker. I'm actually going to start putting that into my daily list. On my Habitica game is to remind me to go actually looking through crowdfunding, like the day before we do the podcast. So let's go on to concert news. And it looks like we have nothing for festivals because we're nearing the end of the year.
Although the thing is, I couldn't find it, but I did see that there are some festival lineups coming out already. But like I said, I couldn't find I just saw it real quick in my Facebook feed. I just couldn't find the article when I came back to look for it.
Is there any mention of the one that Chris Jericho's doing? He's doing a cruise that's basically wrestling and music.
No.
It sounds kind of awesome.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so let's go on to touring news then.
All right, so just have Bob ready here.
I'm ready.
Hashtag no San Antonio date. Killswitch Engage and Anthrax have announced today, not today, but announced a little while back, Killthrax 2, a 29-city tour of North America presented by SiriusXM that kicks off January 25th in Montreal, Canada, and will zigzag across the continent to wind up in Portland, Maine on March 4th. Havoc will serve as the opening act for the entire tour. That is a sick show.
Yeah, they didn't they come around to Austin last time?
Yeah.
And they're coming around to Austin again?
Is it Austin again?
Yeah, that's the closest one to us. I think they're going to do the Come and Take It, which just I might drive out for that because I haven't seen Anthrax since we saw them with John Bush in like 2003.
Right, you definitely haven't seen with Joey Belladonna.
Yeah, and I don't think I've seen Killswitch at all. Have I?
Really?
I might have once. I think I did once. Huh. But now it's that was
But definitely, if you did see that, it was probably with Howard. You definitely didn't see him with Jesse.
yeah, that sounds about right.
All right, here's one for us though. Judas Priest will support the release of their new album Firepower
Firepower.
with a North America tour, which will kick off on March 13th in Pennsylvania and wrap up on May 1st right here in San Antonio at the Freeman Coliseum. Saxon and Black Star Riders have been confirmed as the support acts.
I'm going to that show, and I will finally see Saxon because I've willingly missed out on seeing them twice, and I really need to actually catch them. So, but I that whole lineup is pretty exciting.
Yeah, pretty
So-
much. It's pretty badass.
Yeah, so that's definitely one I'd be there for the whole show.
All right, hashtag no San Antonio date.
Oh wait,
Enslaved, Wolves in the Throne Room, Mjorker, and Chemists will join forces for the 2018 edition of the Decibel Magazine Tour.
Woot.
Yep. Hashtag no San Antonio date. The reunited expanded classic lineup of Halloween featuring 7 musicians, including former vocalist Michael Kiske and guitarist Kai Hansen, alongside current singer Andy Durst and guitarist Sasha Gerstner, has announced the North American leg of the Pumpkins United World Tour. The trek will kick off on September 7th in 2018 in Las Vegas and conclude on September 15th, 2018 in New York.
Just 7 fucking days. I've already said that I'm gonna fly up to New York and see this show.
Yeah.
I have wanted to see Halloween again for years, and this is the ideal time. I actually heard that the tour started off with a bit of a rough patch. Or
Yeah, I think one of the singers was
Michael Kiske was
not feeling well. He had to do backing tracks.
something with his voice, some sort of sickness, maybe pneumonia or something.
Yeah.
But I think they said it was because of the fact that I guess he's not as used to touring, so flying around and whatnot, he contracted something. But I think I've seen pictures since then, so I'm pretty sure he's back up and running.
Yeah.
So, but I really, really want to fucking see that show. I don't know. Do they even have any opening acts?
I don't
listed?
know. I didn't see anything.
It should just be an evening of Halloween in that case.
I mean, it's that much material to cover,
yeah.
multiple eras.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
All right. Last one. Hashtag no San Antonio date. Sabaton uniting with Creator for a North American co-headlining trek. The 24-day tour kicks off on Thursday, February 8th, 2018 at the Van Buren in Phoenix, Arizona, and will make stops in Los Angeles, Montreal, and Philadelphia before concluding at Janus Landing in Tampa, Florida on March 10th.
that pisses me off. When Sabaton comes around last year to Alamo City, but they won't come around for this one.
Yeah.
Like, come on, guys. I want to see Creator. That's the reason for me to go see Sabaton.
Yep.
Not that I have anything against Sabaton.
All right. Well, that's it for touring news.
Grr. Anger. Go.
All right, one-offs. Metal Allegiance will return to Anaheim, California at the House of Blues on Thursday, January 25th for its annual January Metal Assault. This year marks the introduction of Bobby Blitz and John Bush to the group, in addition to surprise guests that Metal Allegiance is known for. Of course, Metal Allegiance's House of Blues performance will feature all 4 core members of the band, which is Dave Ellefson, Alex Skolnick, Mike Portnoy, and Mark Mengy, who are taking a short break from recording their second full-length album. Joining them on stage will be Mark Acevedo from Death Angel, Gary Holt, Chuck Billy, and Andreas Kisser.
Now, just you look at those names and tell me you're not pregnant now.
Yeah, that just sounds like a badass evening.
Yes, it most certainly does. All right, next up, Metallica will perform at Band Together Bay Area, a benefit concert at AT&T Park in San Francisco on Thursday, November 9th, supporting recovery efforts for the recent firestorm that swept through Northern California. Also scheduled to appear are G-Eazy and the Dave Matthews Band. Tickets, which range from $49.50 to $200, will go on sale Friday via Ticketmaster, which has pledged to donate all processing fees to the relief effort. Prime seats in the stadium will be reserved for first responders, volunteers, and families who were caught in the firestorm.
If there is no collaboration between Metallica and Dave Matthews Band at that show, I'll be disappointed. I think that would be fun. But what's good, though, is that you have two bands that are completely different styles of music, but they have like the most rabid fan bases.
Yes.
So therefore, you have tons of support.
The only thing that disappoints me here is that Ticketmaster is only pledging the processing fees.
Those are pretty astronomical.
I know that, but then when you look at the ticket prices, though, it's like, man, you guys could have stepped up just a little bit more.
Yeah. Fucking Ticketmaster. They just love to fuck you.
All right, but that's it.
All right. So that was fun. All the crime stuff in the middle was not very fun.
No.
Let's start talking about heavy metal in the charts because we don't want more fun, apparently.
Yeah, really, because listen, top 200, Blue Dog, this one. I left off Tom Petty. I left off Linkin Park because, they're going to be up there for a while. Mm-hmm. But as far as actual new releases here, and one old one, Foo Fighters' Concrete and Gold is at 105 from 85. The Black Album, The Mainstay, is at 130 from 125. And Sons of Apollo, the new band featuring Mike Iconplay That Portnoy, his new album, Psychotic Symphony, debuts at number 147.
That is sad.
Now, I'm not too keen on reading the hard rock one because it's not updating. It's a week behind.
Uh-huh.
So, because it doesn't have the Sons of Apollo album on there. It still says that the Pfizer releases a new record, so I'm not going to read this one today.
Gotcha.
It's just not.
Well, who was number one last week?
Stick to Your Guns.
The fuck is that?
A band.
Who the fuck is that?
So
Stick to my dick.
I'm going to try and reload it one more time. Nope, definitely still sticking a week behind.
Okay, so then we don't read the hard rock charts, although we'll probably be depressed by them anyway.
Just scanning through it, it's mostly the same old stuff. LA Guns had a new album that came out that's on there. Mm-hmm. Fozzie's album was actually at number 7.
I almost bought that when I went and got the Power Man album.
Marilyn Manson's album was knocked down from 1 to 2 by Stick to Your Guns. So, and then of course just your typical greatest hits, Black Album, and Linkin Park stuff.
Gotcha.
So nothing really striking on this particular chart. Mm-hmm. So, moving on.
Okay. Now I don't think I'm going to do the I Saw a Show segment on the podcast anymore. I might go back to doing just the videos. Okay. Because it's a little bit easier for me to process my thoughts. Because I have been to a handful of shows. I saw Las Cruces. They're a local doom metal band. Okay. And they were fucking good, dude. Oh my god, like that upbeat side of Black Sabbath, like Sabbath Bloody Sabbath as a separate band, basically. It was really fucking good. But Seance played that night too. Seance is always good to catch, and they were dressed up in costume. It's very funny because Nacho was wearing a wolf mask, and like halfway through the set, I realized he's also got wolf feet on. I don't know why I found that so funny, but I was just cracking up.
That's awesome.
Who else played? Exile played that same show. Exile's great. When I think you might want to catch them sometime. Their singer / I think he's bassist was dressed up as King Diamond. Nice, like straight up King Diamond. It was great. I can't remember who the other band was that played that night. But yeah, so I went to that show, and I feel like one or two others I've been to, but it's been a little bit more on the quiet side of things. Next weekend actually is there's an event for a guitar player for a local band, like a long-lasting one named Juggernaut. I think that they're doing like a reunion show and benefit for one of their former members, and like Cyrus and Zero the Hero playing that night. And I'm actually going to be going over to the show early on to interview both bands, but then I'm going to go check out Sidewinder and Rewired at Fitzgerald's. Both bands are awesome. So
I got one show coming up my birthday show.
Yes.
Periphery, Animals as Leaders, and Astronoid.
That day, actually, Lindsay and I are going to be seeing Ring of Honor.
Oh, nice.
And it's at the Austin Highway something center. It's literally less than a mile away. We could walk there if we wanted
Nice.
to. I saw it like in the daytime one time. I was like, shit, it's right there. Fuck yeah, awesome. But it kind of seems like it's becoming more of a big deal because of the fact that it's happening in the same city and the same weekend as everything for WWE. Because Survivor Series is happening in Houston. I think actually Raw and SmackDown thereafter are happening in Houston. NXT is doing their show in San Antonio.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of fun business going on that weekend. They're pulling out some names to get over to Ring of Honor. So sounds like it's gonna be awesome. But yeah, aside from that, let's go on to our discussion, which I completely forgot that we had a discussion until I was like, wait a second, didn't you send me a link or something
did.
recently? Okay, now I haven't looked at this list, as I tend not to. I prefer to give the visceral response.
Yep.
So the list that you pulled out was Loudwire's 25 non-metal acts that metalheads dig.
Yep.
Is this going to make me angry in any way?
I don't think so, for the
Okay.
most part. All right, but the first one that comes up is Adele, actually.
I can see that for
Yep.
sure because I actually the more I hear her stuff, the more I like it. There's like I don't feel there's anything particularly special to it. I don't think she's like an extremely talented singer. She just has a good voice. So yeah, I don't see an issue there.
Yeah,
So
totally agree with that one. Except for Hello. The only thing is, like, I don't like the overplay value of her songs.
I mean, I'm still okay with that song. There are some songs that I hear plenty. I'm still not tired of. I'm still not tired of "Happy" by Pharrell Williams. I fucking adore that song, and when I hear it, my day just gets better.
Because you're happy?
Yes, and then if I get tired of it, I just go listen to Weird Al's parody of it.
All right, next up is Bob Dylan.
Yes, but there's always that. I think we discussed something similar to it recently. There is that fine line of being able to kind of tolerate his voice.
I think it's not so much his voice that people are talking about here. It's more about his kind of like lyricist
Yeah.
protest songs, the fuck you attitude, kind of, especially from his earlier stuff. You know,
Yeah,
more rebellious side.
I can see that.
of his music.
I feel like he's been in the business obviously much longer than
Most
metal,
people have been alive.
than metal in general. We'll say that, but it's not one that I hear being referenced very often. It's not one you hear being covered very often. I would love to hear a metal cover of Masters of War.
Oh,
Yeah, so things like that. So it's not surprising considering the fact that he is more of a universal artist, but it's just one that I don't hear often enough, from the mouths of the influenced artists themselves.
yeah.
You know?
But in the same vein, Bob Marley.
Yeah, I'm actually not that big of a fan of Bob Marley. I don't really care. And I feel like that's in a similar vein as Bob Dylan, and probably Johnny Cash might be in there too, I'm sure. But it's a matter of them being long-lasting and more universal. So
Again,
that's,
it has everything to do more with his subject matter than anything else. You know, offering words of unity and peace while simultaneously chronicling oppression and the evils of mankind's recent history. Some dark subject matter betwixt some positive sounding music. So that's where metalheads fall. Next one up is one I've heard a lot of, and I really have not given a chance to yet, and I probably will, is Chelsea Wolfe.
I've heard the name, but I don't know it.
Well, the thing is, she's described as like avant-garde, neo-folk, electronic drone, smorgasbord. She's like a mixture of a lot of different things. And I've just been hearing her name a lot, specifically like on metal websites. Like she's, been pretty much kind of brought in kind of thing, I guess. So definitely something I want to check out, see what all the hype's about, if anything.
Gotcha.
All right, next one up is Daft Punk.
You know that's. I didn't realize that they had that big of a fan base. I always I knew the name and everything, but like even in the lead up to Get Lucky, like people had this massive hard on for them. I was like, I don't know where that came from. It's probably just because the if Get Lucky is anything to go by, it's an infectious kind of music.
I think it's the way they describe it is that it's the blend of new wave, disco, funk, and traditional electronic elements. Kind of like how we're all of a sudden coming back to synthwave, like it's just awesome, catchy shit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same kind of thing. And as a matter of fact, I believe there's later on this list there's a band that Pete and I were having a conversation at the gym about synthwave, and he mentioned a band, and then I found this list, and that band was on this fucking list. So
Yeah, it's a matter of, I feel like if it's on the poppier side of things, if it's not, obnoxious, which they have a lot more of a smoother, calm down sound, which makes them a little bit more appealing in general. But like the bands, like not the bands, the artists out there who are like topping the charts and everything with this really loud, obnoxious style of like music. I don't want to say instrumentation, but music. Like I feel like that would turn people off more. Whereas something like this is a little bit more easy to get into. It's a little bit more. I don't want to keep using the word universal, but it's a little more universal.
Yeah.
That crossover appeal. There you go. So.
all right, next one up is David Bowie.
Yeah, duh.
Yeah, it kind of just makes sense on every single level why metalheads would be into David Bowie.
And that's not a surprise considering the fact that he has been a chameleonic artist.
Yeah, I mean, that's the first line of the other thing is because of his chameleon-like career, garners respect from music scenes of all ilks. So he's done just about everything.
Yeah, I feel I'm sure he's not on this list because he tends close enough to metal that it wouldn't count. But like Alice Cooper, Alice Cooper's changed his style here, there, and everywhere over the course of his career to make him accessible to many different audiences, and it's always worked. And David Bowie, never really veered toward metal, but he had that same appeal. It's like he can do a little bit of everything.
Well,
and
he
appeal
veered
to
a little
everyone.
more towards the electronic side with the what was it, the Aliens album that he did with Trent Reznor?
That was Lost Highway, I think.
No. There was a whole album.
Oh, Earthling.
Earthling, that's
Yes,
the one.
Yes,
Earthling.
yes. I mean, you can. Sometimes the artists will do that, like when Neil Young did Mirrorball with Pearl
with
Jam.
Pearl Jam.
Yeah, so I that doesn't really surprise me. So
All right, next band up here, and I'm a fan of this one, is Depeche Mode.
I don't know enough of their stuff. The ones I hear covers of their stuff a lot.
Yeah.
And
specifically Personal Jesus.
Personal Jesus,
And Sound of
Enjoy the Silence. Yeah, but I'm not as familiar with them. I don't think I would have any sort of dislike of them, but I don't know if I'd be able to get wholly into them this late in the game.
Yeah.
But-
Well, the thing is, the main thing about them that they think that metalheads dig about them is that rather than sticking with major chords and soaring choruses, the group's music magnified darker areas juxtaposed by lyrics of acceptance and optimism, while asking some of life's bigger questions in other areas to match the more morose aspect of the Depeche Mode sound.
Yeah, there's something. They're a band that I have to like eventually work my way into. I'd say just to be aware.
Here's one: Frank Sinatra.
I don't see the allure of Frank Sinatra. He's not a good singer. To me, all of his stuff sounds exactly the same, and he doesn't sing it well. I can do what he did. I don't get it. So
I think it has more to do with
the attitude and
the attitude. They talk about alleged affiliation with the mafia served as a precursor to the rough and tumble lifestyle of the most debaucherous rockers of the 70s and 80s. In the metasphere, his reputation as an all-around badass and work ethic might wield more influence than the music, though Bruce Dickinson did steal the rising fifth vocal for Iron Maiden's Run to the Hill.
Yeah, no,
Yeah. All right, here's one that's like not a surprise at all. Is Frank Zappa.
Oh yeah, that's just. I forget that Frank Zappa was also a absolutely goddamn brilliant guitar player.
Yeah.
I think of this. I think of the songs and a little bit of the goofiness and whatnot, but I've seen like live footage of him playing guitar, and he's a fucking brilliant, man.
It's kind of like watching Prince play guitar. You totally forget that the dude is a madman.
Yeah. And Frank Zappa's music for the billions of albums that he had.
Over 100 studio albums.
Jesus Christ, I didn't think he had that many.
No,
but-
he's like Buckethead level proficient. Jesus Christ, can't even think of the word.
Yeah. But yeah, I can definitely see it, especially because his music again, it's that chameleonic way of doing things. He can do a little bit of everything, and it'll work regardless. Yeah.
Yeah, not a surprise on this one.
No, definitely not. I mean, I could say more. I wish I knew more about Frank Zappa.
Yeah.
I actually watched the documentary on Apostrophe and Overnight Sensation, and it was extremely interesting just because, like, they talk about how he would, like, write music. Like, he would actually write out in note form, like, not just write it all out, everything that goes on in his head as far as the music goes, and he would just do that all day, every day.
Well, I think he also wrote like symphonies too, didn't he? Or like I think that's how he approached his music.
Probably.
Because I for some reason I don't know if I've ever actually saw this in real life or whatever, but I remember watching like a clip of him conducting, like literally conducting.
I'm sure he's done something like that. I think there's one or two albums that like he kind of went off the wall and did work with conductors and whatnot. I say off the wall. It's like it's normal for him.
Yeah.
But it's definitely like I know so little about him. I want to know so much more just because of the fact there is so much to absorb as far as his his mythos goes.
Yeah. Next up, Gorillaz.
Yes, I actually really like the Gorillaz. I can't say what the allure is more than anything else. Like I can't say like put them above any other artist that we've talked about on this list so far, or maybe any that comes afterward. There's just something about them that is.
Well, this isn't a top thing. This is just 25 artists. This
Yeah.
isn't ranking them in any way, shape, or form. It's just listing them. So, but they talk about specifically about their comprehensive blend of alt rock, hip hop, and electronica is incredibly unique, and the group was regularly featured on active radio with Tool and System of a Down.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, I just remember that.
Yeah, they are quite good. So
Excuse me. Here's our man, Johnny Cash.
yeah, again, just reiterate the same things with Bob Dylan and whatnot. So
Yeah. Oh, here's another one. Kraftwerk.
I know of them. I don't know the music.
It's just one of those things. I think. Yeah. See, during the krautrock boom of the '70s, pioneers Kraftwerk had a heavy hand in involving aspects that are now commonplace in modern electronic music, and we kind of just moved on from there for metalheads, really. All right, moving on. Michael Jackson.
Yeah, that's kind of a no-brainer. Again, that's the side of pop that is not loud and obnoxious. It's good, infectious. It does have a lot of talent behind it. As it's like getting Eddie Van Halen to play.
Yeah, they
on
mentioned
it
that
and everything.
specifically.
Yeah, not all of his stuff is great. I can say that.
Yeah.
But
Well, what they mentioned here is that there's plenty of parallels to draw between Michael Jackson and heavy metal, most notably his excellence as a live entertainer, taking already shimmering studio cuts and putting some extra shine on them in stadiums and arenas.
yeah.
So, yeah. Plus, Thriller.
Not even just that. A lot of his hit songs are just fantastic, and they're essentially made to be metal. I can actually see him, maybe not necessarily while he was still alive. I could see him like doing a collaboration with a metal band.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because his voice, like the harder side of his voice, definitely lends itself to something a little bit more intense. So
Miles Davis.
I don't know enough about Miles Davis, but I know his influence is far-reaching.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of folks who are into metal, especially drummers, always call back to jazz, and that's definitely where
Well,
Miles
the thing
Davis
is,
comes in.
they open this one up by any school-age rocker with their worth their salt has taken at least one history of rock class, which oftentimes also includes pre-rock eras like big band, Motown, and jazz. Miles Davis. typically mentioned as the high points, exploring winding and ambitious arrangements, spinning the heads of youngsters. So, Prague. All right, next up, a band called Mogwai.
I know the name. I've never heard the music. So
Yeah, it says that are among the most popular non-metal acts with metalheads. There's certainly a musical connection between their gorgeous cinematic soundscapes that build to explosive climaxes, adding layers and nuances as each song progresses.
and it's Mogwai, right?
Mogwai.
Like the Gremlins thing.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay. Yeah, I know the name, but I never heard the music. So
Here's not a surprise at all. NWA.
yeah, I mean, you may dislike rap, but you like NWA. I have an NWA album.
And they got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for crying out loud.
That's
so there
right.
it is.
That's right, they did.
Oh, here's one. P-Funk. Parliament Funkadelic.
Yeah, not familiar.
Doesn't matter. I mean, they do have that kind of influence though. Specifically, like I think their rhythm section, Bootsy Collins,
Yeah.
and of course George Clinton is being the front man, Chris Wild, crazy man.
I feel like Bootsy Collins has also been on metal albums.
Oh, I think so. Yeah, he did an album with he did a band called Praxis.
Oh
with,
yes. Is it Les Claypool?
Buckethead.
Oh, Buckethead.
Buckethead. So yeah, good stuff there. All right. Perturbator. Perturbator?
Perturbator? I don't know.
Perturbator?
But
But this, I'm pretty sure this is the band that Pete was talking about when we were talking synthwave, because this is a dark synthwave band, taking cues from 80s electronic music and soundtracks, marrying them with more sinister, overarching themes.
I don't think I've ever heard the name at all. That's completely new to me.
Well, here's the thing, though, is that Mastermind James Kent cut his teeth playing in black metal bands, so he's carried some of his more metal leanings to the electronic project. So, if Pete says this is good stuff, then all for it. Oh, speaking of our friend here, Prince.
Yeah, Prince.
Yep.
I actually I don't think I'd previously heard an entire Prince song until recently. So then I started hearing Purple Rain, and I started hearing Part of Like It's 1999. And I don't know what I was expecting.
You were expecting the Batman soundtrack. That's what you're expecting.
I guess, but I do really enjoy the music. So I mean, I can definitely agree with that one. Again, it's a matter of him being also an extremely talented individual.
Yes.
So
Yes. Oh, here's another one. No big surprise here. Public Enemy.
yes, I like Public Enemy too. I haven't bought any of their stuff yet, but I think I took a listen years ago to it's what's it called? It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, really good. I just don't like Flavor Flav.
Yeah, I can deal without him.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not sure how to pronounce this band, but Sigur Rós?
Yes, I'm not sure if you pronounced it right or not, but I've never known how to pronounce it, so I can't help you there. But they're a name that I've heard
Forever.
forever, yes.
Yeah.
So
And the thing is, for metalheads looking to challenge themselves compositionally, listening to the band is a good place to start. Heavily entrenched in the ethereal side of things, borrowing aspects of their Icelandic culture, they are entirely cinematic in their approach to bundling these sounds together. Fans of the heavy stuff who look to acts like Dark Space or Deaf Heaven to put them in a trance can explore the lighter side with this act. And I love me some Deaf Heaven, so there you go.
okay. Yeah, they're a name that I heard a lot when I was working at Tower. So
Yeah. Here's one that another band that came up when Pete and I were talking about synthwave and electronic music in general, Tangerine Dream.
I know the name, they know the music. So
Yeah. Again, they're constant innovators within the broad electronic genre. So
yeah, I got nothing to contribute there.
here's not a surprise on this one at all. The Cure.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think in a similar way as Depeche Mode.
Fuck yeah. Dude, I've been saying for years that Catatonia is like the heavy metal version of The Cure. Fans of depressive, melancholy acts like Catatonia are typically well aware of The Cure. That's what I've been talking about.
What?
You need to calm,
Boom!
you need to calm your fucking tits down, dude. Okay.
Boom! Mic drop, bitches. All right, I'm just gonna move on because I was right. The Sisters of Mercy.
Yes. I think I've only ever seen half of one of their videos. I think one of my favorite songs by Warrell Dane solo is a cover of a Sisters of Mercy song, Lucretia My Reflection.
Actually, they actually mentioned that particular song
Yeah.
in that cover right here.
Yeah. His cover of it is amazing. I'm sure the original is amazing too. It's just
Apparently, Creator also covered the song too.
Creator. But they're one that I've heard about for a while, and I've always felt that I would probably like them based on what I know, but I just never actually sat and listened.
Yeah, and the English post-punk goth rock act constructed some highly danceable tunes, and might resonate a bit more with metal fans. So
Yeah. I'm willing to bet I'd enjoy it if I actually sat and listened to it. So
another one that's not a surprise whatsoever here is the Wu-Tang Clan.
I mean, I don't know any of their stuff really. They are one among many rap hip hop artists that I've wanted to give some time to, but I haven't done it yet.
Yeah. All right, and that was it.
Oh, I'm surprised. Like, well, I guess Queen would be considered a rock band.
Well, Queen's a rock band. I was going to say I was surprised like a person like Elvis Costello wasn't added there just for because he's considered a punk artist back in the day. Who else? When I was looking through this list, I was wondering why certain people wouldn't be on it or aren't on it.
Well, the ones that I expected to be on there, so you got your Bob Dylan, your Johnny Cash's and whatnot, your David Bowie's, like those I would expect to be on a list like that.
I guess Elton John.
Yeah.
That's a big surprise for me that he's not on there. Even to a lesser extent, Billy Joel.
Yeah, definitely to a lesser extent. I think Elton John's a little bit more.
Well, I think he's definitely more of a composition writer than Billy Joel was.
He's also got far more releases under his belt. I think Billy Joel only has a total of maybe 11 for his entire career, whereas Elton John's probably hitting 30 plus at this point. So, but yeah, it's kind of surprising that they wouldn't put Elton John on there because he didn't have like super poppy stuff. People would consider him pop, but it's like.
Well, the thing is, he wasn't really poppy until like the 80s. His 70s stuff. I mean, Tumbleweed Connection is like a country album for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
And then Goodbye Yellow Brick Road is just the seminal rock album of the 70s for crying out loud. And then, he's more of a singer songwriter. They mentioned singer songwriters like Frank Sinatra, Johnny Cash, guys like that. So I'm very surprised that Elton John wasn't on this list at all.
Yeah, that's definitely.
And people have noted him to be influenced. Guns N' Roses performed with Elton John.
Oh, yeah.
His piano playing is fucking phenomenal. Yeah. I mean, what's his name? Alice in Chains got Elton John to play on their song. On I don't remember the song, but it was on their first new album, Blue Gives Away the Black.
Oh, okay.
So, or even I think I was also thinking maybe the Beatles, but they're a rock band, so I mean.
Well, some of the bands on there are kind of rockish.
Yeah, so I'm surprised like the Beatles or even just Paul McCartney as a solo artist wasn't put in here.
Yeah, actually, that does really surprise me. The Beatles, everyone, like, let's just get this one out of the way first. Beatles. Remember that Rock and Roll Jeopardy show where everything was like the Beatles?
Yes.
Yeah, that got a little annoying after a while. Some other artists I can see as having some appeal to metalheads, though. Tori Amos.
Tori Amos, yes.
Especially considering the fact that she has been one to cover metal.
Yeah.
I feel like there is probably a returning of the favor in a way. I'm looking through some of my list here to think about
Leonard Cohen as a lyricist, and everyone who's anybody covered Hallelujah for crying out loud.
Of course. So Clapton.
I mean, everyone notes him as a
blues
influential guitar player. So why like every fucking metalhead probably listens to him at least in some variation, whether it's Cream, whether it's his early work with the Yardbirds, or whether it's his solo stuff, Derek and the Dominoes.
Might just be a little bit too close to
Jeff
to
Beck is another one. I mean, he's just a guitar god to most people.
I'm still looking to. Anything Genesis?
Peter Gabriel.
Yeah, I
mean,
was just any offshoot from Genesis in general.
Yeah.
So, I prefer Peter Gabriel above, definitely above Phil Collins, and maybe even above a lot of Genesis stuff. So I would put Peter Gabriel on there.
Yeah, that's a big surprise.
Yeah,
Big surprise.
Jethro Tull.
No,
Well,
they lost it when they won the Grammy. There's like metalheads don't like them at all anymore.
And I can see
Fuck that guy.
I can see some people.
Speaking of fuck that guy,
Oh yeah, yeah. Kevin Spacey just came on the screen. So, yep. Let me see who else. I already said Queen. I'm surprised that they.
Yeah,
I guess they're considered too close to be. Yeah.
the thing is non-heavy acts metalheads dig is the list here. So
non-heavy. I guess that's why Queen is.
I guess
is
that's
not,
why Queen, like, you know, Rolling Stones,
Yeah.
obviously Led Zeppelin. I mean, they're a goddamn metal band.
Just trying to find.
Allman Brothers, anybody? Anybody?
Maybe. I don't know. I've not been a fan of.
Lynyrd Skynyrd.
Well, I mean, we're talking about like classic artists at this point. Like,
Yeah.
if we're just gonna start whipping out these names and everything. I'll say this one. I don't think it would necessarily apply, but I'll say it just because of the fact that I know that Dave Mustaine specifically said he was influenced by Cat Stevens.
Ooh, yes.
I love Cat
Lyricist.
Stevens. Yes,
Absolutely.
lyricist, great music, and still making music, no less.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's not one that I hear very often. It actually was kind of a surprise that you hear it straight from Dave Mustaine about that being influenced.
Especially considering that he's, you know, no longer Cat Stevens and Dave Mustaine is Dave Mustaine.
Okay. Yeah, I can't think of too many more.
I'm sure we can probably go through a whole list.
Well, because everything that I'm thinking of here kind of borders on heavier music, and that's why I don't think it would be like yes.
Well, that's more of a prog thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
for
it's still
sure.
I guess it's close enough to rock
Yeah.
to heavier music. So they
Yeah,
wouldn't-
you know what? One that I find pretty awesome that I don't know if all metalheads dig is Elliott Smith.
I know of him. Didn't he suicide? a few
Yeah,
years
he was a suicide case, but like if you listen pretty much to almost like half of the Royal Tenenbaum soundtrack, it was Elliott Smith, and he's just really freaking good. I mean, very moroseful, just kind of like we were talking about with the Cure and stuff like that. Mostly acoustic stuff too, but just really good shit.
Yeah,
You know what? Another band or another artist here that I'm surprised is Morrissey or the Smiths.
Yeah. In that case, if you want to go even deeper down that well, Velvet Underground.
Lou Reed.
Yeah. Which I don't. Lou Reed's not.
No,
Another one that got kicked out.
Lulu.
He got kicked out of the club. Everyone just heard that album and they were like,
You just made the list!
and then Metallica tried to defend it, and we were like,
Put him on again! Again, second time! You're on there twice!
There's never been a more appropriate use of that clip ever.
I know, it's been great. But I think we'll cut it off there because, like, again, we
can talk about this for
we can
hours.
go deeper into each well, especially because like we're not as familiar with jazz per se.
I was thinking like the Miles Davis, and then I know there's a plethora of other jazz musicians that I'm sure are influenced, especially on bands that I listen to now, like Animals as Leaders, and the guy Felix Martin who plays that 14-string guitar. Like he's probably got influences that no one's ever heard of.
Yeah, I know that like people will always kind of take the roots of metal into blues, but a lot of it also has to do with jazz at this point. And like you ask metal drummers, they will mention it at least at the very least in passing about jazz.
As a matter of fact, one of my favorite scenes from Beyond the Lighted Stage, which is the Rush documentary, was Neil Peart, God to many drummers. He felt that his style or his playing wasn't up to snuff about 30 years into his career. And he decided to start taking drum lessons from a jazz drummer. And he completely changed his style. He went from a double overhand to like the traditional style where you see that one.
The one on the side?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He started doing that. And just thinking about that influence from a guy from Neil Peart going back and kind of scaling things back and learning how to play drums again.
Yeah, it's
From a jazz player, just shows the influence that particular brand of music has on metal and rock and roll as a whole.
Yeah, and also kind of humanizes your heroes in a way that you're able to sit there and say like, hey, they're still learning. I can still progress whatever stage of my life. People always have that concern that they're too
Locked into something.
They're too locked into something. They're too old for something. But there's always that time, that opportunity to kind of change things up and for lack of better terms here, spice it up.
Yeah.
But definitely that's a cool story. I like that.
I highly recommend watching that documentary to anybody who's interested in learning about Rush.
Gotcha.
Just because, number one, there's a lot of great interviews in it because they got Jack Black, they have Tim from Rage Against the Machine, a lot of other musicians talking about the band, and then just learning about the band and their history over 40 years, and learning about Neil Peart is really interesting because he's like an enigma, that guy. Because if you do a meet and greet with Rush, you never meet Neil Peart. He's not a people guy, and he's very introverted and stuff like that. And he's just really interesting to listen to him talk. Right.
Didn't he, if I'm not mistaken, he had like a death in his family and he decided to just get on his motorcycle and ride across the country and wrote a book about it?
Yep. Back and forth.
Yeah.
They didn't know when the band was going to get back together, if the band was going to get back together. Just Neil Peart did a Forrest Gump, but on his bike. And because I think it was his daughter and his wife he lost within succession of each other.
Wow. So yeah, wow. let's just cap
We
this off.
opened with a downer, we closed with a downer.
Yeah,
I'm an asshole.
That's gonna be the name of this episode. Is just a whole lot of downer. So some variation of that. 'Cause a whole lot of downer sounds weird, but let's just
Stop talking.
You know what, dude? Let's end this with something a little bit more upbeat. That's much better.
Done.
Much better. All right, so we're gonna call it there because Warrior needs food badly.
It is that time now, for sure.
Didn't bring me a fucking sandwich, you son of a bitch! God damn you! I need that sandwich!
One of these days, you're gonna respond like that.
If it wasn't for the fact that I had an amazingly huge breakfast, that might have been my reaction today.
I think the only thing I've had so far today is a friggin' smoothie and grapes.
I had the awesome eggs and potatoes and sausage and vegetable scramble thing. It was
we've been buying quinoa lately.
Yeah.
Which is like it doesn't have much of a taste, so it just kind of adds more. Like it's a little bit easier to consume than having rice in it, because that's what I was doing for a little while. I was putting rice into my omelets, but quinoa is a little bit easier and a little bit more substantial in a way.
I would go also try couscous. You ever try couscous?
I'm not a fan of that.
No.
Hasn't been so great. But actually, we started going to the Central Market lately. Like that's where we get our fruits and veggies now, and they have like the scoop your own shit and whatnot.
Yeah.
And we're like, eventually, I think we're going to tend toward that direction because they have so much cool shit there.
Yeah.
Actually,
HEB Pluses have all that shit too.
oh, okay.
Yeah, you have a regular HEB, right?
No, I'm talking about Central Market.
No, I mean.
Oh yeah,
just HEB by your
I'm
house.
surrounded by like 3 regular ones, and then
HEB Plus is quality stuff.
okay. So in case you wanted to know that, folks, HEB Plus.
Yeah, we're gonna edit this part out.
I get my fruits. Actually, just similar funny story. I'm actually gonna keep this in. So Lindsay and I went to the Central Market like Monday or Tuesday or something like that, and the next day I'm at work, and one of the patients comes up and starts paying their copay. It's like, were you at Central Market yesterday? I was like, shit, people see me.
And then you were walking around Walmart yesterday, and Rainbow in the Dark was on the radio.
Oh my god, that was so great. I was just. It was 8 a.m. I had brought my car to Pep Boys and just sitting there like, I thought it was really somebody like just having one of those like their iPod Touch and it has like the speaker function. No, it was playing in the store over the speakers. I was like, this is the best day ever.
And it's Walmart.
Yeah. And then I sat there and spent an hour and a half waiting for my car to be done.
What would you have done?
Oil change, and brake fluid, and radiator draining, crap like that. So yeah, that's a great story.
We're trying to make sure that we end up on a positive note and not Neil Peart's family die.
Yeah, this is we're getting a little personal at the end here. So hold on.
Never! I will try the hardest! Gah!
I don't know why.
What was that?
I said never. I will try the hardest.
Oh.
We tried hard to make it a positive ending. So let's end this. Until next time, I'm Dan Mack,
And this is Chris Mack.
and we don't have a legit.
Can we go back to being this line?
We can. We will be.
What you got?
We will eventually once again be the slime, but there's going to be new intros and outros and crap in 2018. Until then,
And I'd rather get kicked in the dick 1,000 more times.
Then talk to you.
see you when the fuck we feel like it.